In 2012, Nintendo misjudged everything that made the Wii and DS successful, resulting in the earth-rending failure of the Wii U and crippling misfire of the 3DS, a handheld that should have dwarfed DS sales. Nintendo bled money for 5 long years, only putting out the minimum number of games necessary to satisfy their most loyal fans, who they had convinced to buy a Wii U. Luckily for Nintendo fans, Nintendo humbled themselves and identified and fixed the problems with the Wii U and repackaged it as the Nintendo Switch. The dry years of the Wii U and 3DS gave way for 2 of the strongest years in gaming, and the second best-selling console of all time. Because Sony is full of shh. Fans eagerly awaited the heir to the Switch name, and almost guaranteed success. All this new console would have to do is be the Switch, but better, at a reasonable price, with killer games at launch. Yet, now in 2025, the Switch 2 is set to falter, if not fail, outside of Japan. Sure, the loyal few who bought the Wii U at launch are sold, as are the scalpers who scooped up the majority of online pre-orders, at least until September. But online pre-orders will always be sniped by scalper bots, and returned within 90 days. Those sold believe Switch 2's success is truly inevitable. If the Switch sold well, then why would the Switch 2 not? It's an automatic sale, is it not? If you liked the original, you must upgrade. It is just more of what you loved. The reality is it is harder to sell a simple upgrade to something successful. If people like the original so much, you have to convince them that your increases are worth it. Switch is perfectly capable of playing thousands of games you've not played, and can travel with you the same as Switch 2. What is so enticing about Switch 2? Does it have more space, so you won't have to jockey around data as much? It has a little more space, but most of the announced games require a full download, so you'll run through that space even faster. Well, are the supported memory cards better or cheaper? They are faster, using a technology that has been common in SDs and mini SDs for years, and that is very affordable. But Nintendo chose to require you to buy micro SDs, where this technology has only recently been introduced. So you can expect to pay around $100 for the minimum size card you will need if you intend to buy a decent number of games. Now, the cards will probably fall to a more reasonable price in 2 to 3 years, but you'll need one before then if you buy at launch. Well, are these launch games enticing must-plays? Well, you have the biggest why not game, Mario Kart. If you have a system, why not get its Mario Kart? The game that sells a good percentage of hardware sales, but does not convince anyone to buy a console. The game that sold 8.5 million on Wii U, then over 67 million on Switch, because the system was that much more appealing. Not only that, this is one of the roughest looking Mario Karts, replacing the wacky gameplay you expect with lots of long, mostly straight highways. If I wanted to drive in a straight line, the real highway is only a few minutes away. Aside from that, you have an interactive manual you have to pay for, a handful of ports, and a janky-looking Donkey Kong game in a month. Everyone has different tastes, but unless you are one of those 8.5 million, the answer is no for most. Well, does it improve the games you already have for Switch? That's a good question, with 3,000 asterisks. It might if you pay Nintendo extra money, but only a few, like Metroid Prime 4, see a dramatic boost. Aside from that, maybe some minor improvements. It might be identical to playing on Switch, or might totally break or worsen the game. That's the case for Mega Man Legacy Collection. Is it a bargain at least? Early analysts suggested the console cost a little over $400 to produce, but leaks from a production factory and updated estimates based on the actual hardware show a production cost of around $270 to $300. Nintendo is asking at least $450, with a $70 and $80 floor for games, with the option to charge you even more. Though if you live in Japan, it costs only $330, and the games are at most $60. So, it is absolutely a bargain if you live in Japan. It will sell amazing in Japan. The international price point will allow Nintendo to keep a comparable margin to the Switch's current margin, considering it never received a price cut from $300, but costs a bit over $100 to produce. I wonder how many more Switches would have sold if they cut the price. how else can we try to give Nintendo a firm stroke on the back? Can we mod the hardware to move our legal game rips up like I've done with my Wii U? You know, since Nintendo's fanbase overlaps so much with the homebrewing community. Nope, Nintendo is claiming they've installed a kill switch, and will destroy your Switch if you even think of modding it. And you can't sue them over it. Also, they will be watching and listening with the camera you buy from them. Will you at least be able to escape Joy-Con drift? Well, we have a very simple answer. No. Nintendo has not fixed Joy-Con drift, unless you count the mouse functionality teaser where the drift is a feature, not a bug. Instead, Nintendo is focused on making the sticks feel better on your thumbs. Maybe you'll be able to play straight out of the box if you happen to be going through a power outage like I was when the Switch released? Well, it sounds like no, judging from the systems that have broken Street Date. You will have to connect to the internet before you can use the Switch too. It's genuinely amazing Nintendo is threading the needle like this. Then again, they've transparently wanted to be the Apple of gaming ever since the Wii and DSi. But hasn't Apple actually gotten into gaming and it's not gone very well? Maybe the Supreme and Nike business model just doesn't work with gaming. The problem is, Nintendo is in a bind. This is their only 10th generation hardware. Switch 2 has to sell well, or their third-party partners will be very upset. It has to sell, or they won't be able to make the big money off of games, DLC, and Nintendo Online subscriptions. If the console does not sell significantly better than the Wii U or 3DS did, the money dries up in a snap. I've never seen this level of disinterest in a Nintendo product. Even the Wii U and 3DS, nobody ever voiced their disinterest. It was a more passive disinterest where we could see some appeal, just not enough for us to go out and buy at launch. Then Switch. Everyone I talked to was sold pretty quickly after announcement. Yet with Switch 2, it's becoming a joke how unappealing it is in my circles. I'm perfectly content to replay old favorites or finally play many of the games I've heard are amazing, but never had a chance to play. Chrono Trigger, Mario Galaxy 2, insert a dozen cult PS1 and PS2 RPGs. People are talking about lending their older games. And of course, there are also naughty options to play old rare games that are just not getting ported. But that if you use When You Die, Miyamoto will personally recommend God send you directly to hell. Do not pass go, do not reincarnate as a cat boy or cat girl. Straight to hell. He's already doing that to me, though, because I had to homebrew my Wii because the disk drive was dying after a few years. I should have just bought a new Wii so Saint Shigeru would have mercy on my soul. I'm happy to wait until I see something appealing on Switch 2, just like I did with the Wii U. Even then, the first-party library won't be going anywhere.